Alright, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of, you don't know what the color is called yet. So, but anyway, let's get right into it. Let's jump into college football here, boys. First off, we have Jalen Bolster on the left
What
on
up?
my screen. We got Alex Woods on the right on my screen. And I am
Yo.
Blaine Robinson. Alright, so boys, talking about the college football, we have Indiana, who ended up beating Oregon this past weekend. Really, that was the only movement. There hasn't been any real big movement in the top 10 over the college football. Indiana jumped from 7 to 3. Oregon jumped from 3 to 8. Texas Tech dropped what were they? Were they 7th or 6 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So they're at 7 now. Bama jumped up from 8 to 6. Ole Miss dropped down. Texas A&M Ole Miss swapped to 4 and 2. Miami kept its rank at second, and then it goes to third. You guys want to go into any thoughts talking about who possibly shouldn't be in the top 10?
Top 10.
Like, who shouldn't be in the top 10?
Give me a second.
I
I don't.
10 is appropriately guided this week. I think that Oregon losing to another top 10 team in Indiana, I think a slide out of the top 10 for them, in my opinion, would have been kind of obscene. That Oregon-Indiana game was the game of the week, in my opinion. It is.
Definitely.
People bet on Oregon. And of course, the Hoosiers ended up winning, cashing a lot of bets for them. But I think they could. You can even make an argument that they could be over Miami at 2 right now. But I think that there's the top 10 is good for right now.
But Miami, that win against Florida State,
Is not looking as great as it did at the beginning of the season.
that's why I was Miami. Now, Ohio State, thank God Texas ended up winning against Oklahoma on Saturday, because there is no chance that Ohio State would have stayed one if Texas didn't win. In this Penn State game that Indiana and Ohio State have to play against,
Oh yeah.
we're looking at terrible. And Oregon's win, having won a double overtime against Penn State, looks terrible.
Yeah,
And then, just thinking about all that stuff, and when you look at, what we got? Texas is ranked at 21st from the league.
Which is
We had that conversation on Saturday, that Texas was going to be in the top 25 and the top 20 loss.
kind of interesting because if you really look at Texas, they have a good defense, just like some of the other teams. It's just they can't put an offense together for real. If you ever seen their drives, they can hold anybody. They just can't put points on the board to outplay other teams.
We got UC and Nebraska sliding in there at the 25th, 24th spot. Damn, dude, I didn't know Memphis is undefeated.
Yeah.
yeah. UC's been on fire this year so far. So wins, they beat Iowa State, but Iowa State lost again this past week, which again makes the loss look a little, or the win a little more, a little more mediocre. But still, they beat a top 20 team at the time in Iowa State, who looked rolling with Rocco Beck. I think he is one of the best leaders in college football, especially with that team. I think he's the real deal, and. But UC making that jump, I think, is appropriate. Brendan Sorsby has had a great year. They got a great fan base over there at Nippert Stadium.
If we had pick right now, obviously the Power 4 school didn't also have the I guess we would say Power 5 school.
Yeah, the group of fives.
Which do we think is, you have to look at each conference. So, I think it's a big thing. I say that's a big one right now. I think that's going to be a conversation based off right now, as long as Ohio State and Michigan, because both Indiana and Ohio State have to play Penn State, but as
But now without their quarterback, that looking like an easier victory for both teams.
Yeah. So biggest matchup right now for Indiana probably is honestly UCLA.
Yeah, talk about changing a complete program in one little season. There, their interim head coach, or sorry, offensive coordinator, has really turned that offense around, and the whole team's kind of grown around their interim head coach and their offensive coordinator. But I agree. I think Ohio State is the favorite, but you can't count out Oregon. That would require a misstep from Ohio State and Indiana. But I still think Oregon has a great team still. But definitely, yeah. Well, it's
One's got to lose if they got to play each other.
Yeah, it's one of the most competitive conferences in college football right now.
And then SEC, going based off of it right now, used to have, I don't know, Alabama.
Well, if you really, the thing is, if you look at Alabama, they're probably the only team in the top 10 that could honestly be ranked lower because,
Yeah.
I mean, they have a Florida State loss. LSU has a loss. I forgot to who, but I'm pretty sure they're a ranked team. Most of the SEC schools behind them have ranked losses who actually have like defined wins. And the last few weeks, you have Alabama, a go-ahead touchdown to beat Missouri, and then the week before having to struggle against Vanderbilt, which has honestly been an upgrading team. So, I mean, I could honestly see LSU, Georgia, or Tennessee being ahead of any like Alabama, but also moving Texas Tech, Oregon up this slot as well.
Yeah, I think for the SEC, Texas A&M is a team I don't think that's been touched on much. They've had a great season so far. They look like one of the better, most complete teams in college football right now. I think it's going to be hard to win, especially at Kyle Field. I think LSU's had a great season, and Garrett Nussmeier, preseason Heisman, was getting votes for the preseason Heisman. You can't count out any of them. Tennessee's looking good. Their defense is a little shaky, but that offense is, as per usual with the Josh Heupel offense, is a top offense in the league. You can't count out Georgia. They had an interesting game against Auburn, but it's Kirby Smart. He'll get everything figured out. So I think really, honestly, either one of those three are my favorites.
Yeah. They're definitely there. I would say this, the team that is, well, I think we're jump on it now. Let's do the Big 12. The Big 12, I feel like
I think
it's Texas Tech.
Texas Tech is going to run away with that, I think. Like, the next closest team is BYU to them, but that's...
Yeah, you also have UC. UC's in there, but it is Texas Tech's division lose at this point. But I feel like UC, Cincinnati, and BYU are the two competitors. Again, it only takes 1 week, one game to mess up, and in today's college football with how the rankings are and stuff, that's really all it takes is for one team to get a loss so another team can take advantage.
And then we need the ACC. As of right now, people basically
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah, the ACC's been a little underwhelming this year, as many have probably come to realize.
Which is probably rare because they were probably competing for one of the best conferences, having Miami, Georgia Tech, Virginia. Louisville was up there at the beginning of the season. They've been kind of underwhelming a little bit. They have 3 teams. Virginia should be in there. Yeah, they.
Top 25 is just SEC.
But arguably, well, the most complete team in college football so far has been Miami. Both sides of the ball have been firing. With Cam Ward last year, their big issue was defense. They brought in a new defensive coordinator, and it has really shaped things all around to look like that old school Miami defense, along with a power offense that uses the run and the pass very well. Miami might be the best team in college football, but outside of that, for the ACC, it's really anyone's anyone's matchup against Miami. It looks like so far in the championship, any of those second
Now,
teams.
now you said Miami. I still look like an Indiana fan and the Ohio State fan. Those two teams were very, very like the Ohio State defense. You leave your defensive coordinator after you just won a national championship. You go to Penn State, look at them now, done. Not done. Look at them now. Then you have the sign Matt Patricia, who's doing great. To be honest with this game, on the first touchdown to the President all season long.
Mhm.
You know, he was a top 20 Illinois game. Now, I don't know how Illinois is still not ranked in the top 25, but they're ranked 17th and you lose to a number one. For two losses, like it's number one from the two teams, they're not in the top 25. I don't know, you're all talking about this on that, but I think it's dumb. You lose to the number one team. It's not like you lost to a team. But that Ohio State's complete, their offense is good now. I guess it's weird. It's like against the teams that don't blow out, we end up with man and only run. But the teams that they don't are switch on the field on touchdown or something.
For sure.
But I honestly, it just depends on the mindset of Ryan. One game, and that's where the time I think
Which, if Ohio State's probably my favorite, but I think the same coaching process can get them in some trouble. Which, in the middle of the season, you don't have back to back. Like once it gets to college playoffs times, you're going back to back, top ranked teams. Which is it's hard to change a mindset once you're playing those top ranked teams. But like in the middle of the season, you can try out some things because you always have something to fall back on.
Ohio State losing to Michigan this year, I definitely feel like they're going to be a one to make sure that they win the national championship. But like knowing that you're going to go through SEC team of Tennessee, who was favored, then you have to go through Oregon, who already beat that year, and then you smash Oregon, and then you get through Texas, who arguably should have won the SEC their first year, and then you have Notre Dame. Another thing, Notre Dame should not be ranked coaching. You don't beat anybody, but you lose to anybody.
For sure. What, them in Texas are the only two lost schools on the ranked?
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, Texas beat Oklahoma. Who has Notre Dame beat? I'm not going to sit here and do game or anything. I can just really go about how they don't play in conference. Because they're always going to be in the talk of the college football playoff. They don't have to lose anything. Like, if it comes down to say a Texas Tech and a BYU, and then a BYU beats Texas Tech, then Texas Tech is out and they're staying in just because they're going to keep their team. With a two-loss team, Texas Tech, that only loss would be in the conference championship.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, before we end the college portion of this, Heisman, do you think it's going to Heisman? I know it's hard right now because all the favorites suck and you don't really know. You do think it's going to be Heisman right now? Jalen, we'll start with you and go to Allison.
Kind of. Honestly, it's kind of a toss-up. I'm honestly not 100% sure just because really I'm more of looking at teams play, so I haven't really been keeping up with a whole lot of like players, and the players who have been the name standouts are not performing. But Texas Tech's quarterback, Texas A&M's quarterback, he's honestly been able to put points on the board. Obviously, that whole offense is kind of built around them as a whole. So he's probably my favorite. Sorry, I don't know the name right now, but I know who he is as like a player. I just don't have the name off the top of my head right now.
Yeah.
But he's probably my favorite for Heisman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Fernando Mendoza of Indiana. Again, we've seen it kind of every week here so far. He's confident, very confident leader in that locker room. He has led a team that has really no football history at all, with more recent, obviously, history of Michael Penix and company. He's kind of led a new chapter of Indiana football. and I think he is made all the right decisions. He's gone into top 15 loudest stadium in Autzen over there in Oregon, and he played well. He didn't like just manage the game. They played efficient. They, I forget the receiver. Blake will know,
I don't know if he's
but
hard.
they have a real connection. Obviously, their defense is really good. I think Fernando Mendoza is my favorite for a Heisman so far.
Mine would also be enthusiast. He was on Saturday, and Alex were watching football. We were getting ready to watch the high school game. Then Heisman favorites, he goes for ninth. He's not in the top five on that one. After you throw that pick six, and you have a touchdown lead, and you come out, but you got two scoring drives where you're just throwing these, contested balls to where only the receiver can catch it, and you're a junior. Like you're just, and this is your first time. I feel best because you were at Cal before. Cal, not you're in the national football anymore, and just coming out there and showing why you can like do this again. First ever, well, it's the first ever Big Ten championship game, but we can do that now. We're going to do the betting order of ourselves. Now, each of us are going to pick a money line for who we think's going to win this week. We won't do the touchdowns and stuff this year, but I have money line. I have LSU beating Vandy. LSU is not favored to win. That was more of a. I don't think they are. So let me think.
Here I have it pulled up. No, Vandy's actually.
They're not favored. Vandy's favored. They're in Vandy. The spread is 2.5. Usually 3 points just for being at home. So Vegas thinks it's something. So I'm going to rock with LSU. The Tigers.
I'm going to rock with Auburn over Mizzou. They're 1.5 point dogs. They looked great last week against Georgia. Stupid mistakes and really unlucky calls from the refs kind of hosed them, especially the touchdown by Jackson Arnold. The ball was over the line. It was called back. So they kind of got hosed there. But I'm picking Auburn money line, 1.5 over Mizzou in Auburn, I believe. Yes.
Auburn is not ranked, so they're the second. Oh,
Yep.
Missouri is ranked. Missouri's
16.
because Vandy's 17, and then
Dude, I didn't realize Ole Miss and Georgia play.
Yeah, I think that's my go-to game of the week for this week. We'll get to see what Ole Miss shows up.
All right, Dylan, we got here.
and then I will probably. I'm gonna be a risky picker. I would honestly say Tennessee over Alabama, just because Tennessee's offense has always been able to put up points. They've been top 5 for like the last 2 or 3 years on yards, touchdowns, and such. And Alabama is kind of struggling this year. Usually team that's Saturday night at 7:30. So Alabama's actually favored by 7.5 points, but the way they've been struggling, I don't know if it's a locker room issue or like a head coach issue. Like going from Nick Saban to their coach now, it's a whole different system. Obviously, Alabama's still Alabama. You still have your top-ranked players, but I think Tennessee is going to be able to put more yards on Alabama than they'll be able to stop them for.
All right, well, we all picked 3 underdogs. I guarantee you if we lose Thursday, and again, I'm not saying the side.
Not sponsored yet. Hit us up.
You're not saying this. Hold on, you want to say.
Hold on, what was yours, Alex?
Mine was Auburn over Mizzou, 16.
Yours was Tennessee, mine was LSU. I got to figure out where.
Point and a half dogs.
I gotta find out where
I got to
Auburn
figure out
is.
where LSU is on this thing. I picked all underdogs. You bet $10 to win $141.
That's pretty solid right there.
Pretty solid. We got upsets on the brink here, boys. But all right, now we're going to jump into some NFL So understand we're in the middle of the season on both of these. But looking at what we know as of right now is we need to figure out MVP. So guys, we have MVP here. First of all, everybody's favorite NFL team. Let's go ahead and say that everybody. Mine's Dallas Cowboys. We want to talk about it now.
Talk about a struggling team.
Yeah, let's go from one struggling team to another. Bengals fan, day one, unfortunate injury to Joe Burrow, but don't ask me the opinion about the front office.
So I'm kind of like stuck in between two, only because they are like divisional rivals. So obviously, being in Cincinnati, I root for Cincinnati. My job kind of requires me to root for Cincinnati to make my money. But I also kind of, as younger watching NFL, I kind of grew up watching the Ravens and like the dirty dog mindset. So they're kind of also a down and bad team right now, underperforming kind of.
We're doing great this year.
Cowboys, Bengals, Ravens. You want to fly us out?
I think we actually have a combined win of 4 wins as each other, maybe 5.
We have 5.
Yeah, we have 5.
Bengals have 2, Ravens have 1. And if Lamar doesn't play, well, the Ravens are on a bye week, so we can't lose this week. So that's good. But anyway, going into that, talking about our favorite teams here now, let's take a deep into who we think's playing well enough right now to be the MVP. We're going to go through all the awards, guys, here, but we're going to start off, obviously, with the big dog itself. MVP. I don't know, do you all want me to start off with my list? Explain it a little. I'm only going to obviously make sure that we got a lot of awards.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Top 3 on all these.
Yeah.
Mine right now, I actually did 4 for MVP because I honestly forgot about this week. I have Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott, and Baker Mayfield, obviously, 4 out of their 5 wins of the 5-1 record have been in the last basically minute or 2 minutes drives, where he just won. And his stats right now are, he's 4th in the league in passing yards at 1,539 yards. He has 12 passing touchdowns, that's 5 for second. Subsequently, they're leading in the NFC South there. Sam Darnold, he's third in passing yards, that's 1,541. Oh, that's right. 1,541. That's, he's third in passing yards, has 11 touchdowns. He's third or fourth, however you want to talk about that tie that Baker is. And then my third option right now is Dak Prescott. Cowboys defense is really dog crap. We are the literal Bengals of last year. Number 1 offense in the league, worst defense in the league. Even the Bengals last year weren't even dead last in the Cowboys are dead last. But he's second in passing yards, only behind Matthew Stafford, and then he's first in passing touchdowns for cooking. So he's able to reduce. The only thing is that we can't stop anybody from him to be able to go out there.
For sure.
And then my 4th one, Daniel Jones. Colts are 5-1. He has 1,502 passing yards. He has 8 touchdown passes, but it's rushing. He also has 4 rushing touchdowns. But I think he has less than 100 rushing yards, so he doesn't have to rush the ball. To come in, only have 3 interceptions on the year, have 12 touchdowns you're responsible for, then I can go to my top 4 now. Can you argue that? No. 3 out of 4 I picked have winning records. Yeah, let Dak Prescott out of there for the 2 days. Same thing if Joe Burrow would have won the league. What do you think now? Like, who are your top 3?
So I definitely agree with the Baker Mayfield, especially with the weapons that he has. It's kind of been on both your starting receivers hurt, a kind of next man up standpoint, and he's still putting up stats. Sam Darnold, I agree with. Nobody really expected, everybody expected the Seahawks to be decent, but I don't think anybody expected the Seahawks to kind of come out to the jump that they have right now at 4-2. But I have Josh Allen at my 3rd MVP ranking. Obviously coming off his own MVP season. His first few weeks, he was kind of lights out, putting up, I believe, almost 300 yards, if not more, the very first game against the Ravens, probably the most highly anticipated Week 1 game in a while. Now he only does have 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, but he also has 3 rushing touchdowns. And what's kind of impressive is Sam Darnold has 7 sacks, Josh Allen has 8. So, I mean, which is kind of what I would say is kind of honestly high for Josh Allen, speaking that means he's staying in that pocket more. I think that means he's trying to be more of an actual quarterback of waiting for something to happen, which is honestly, as it's right now, it's 21-7 for the Bills game, which honestly might be the issue is he's staying. He's MVP caliber, but the last few games I think he's been waiting in the pocket a little too much than what he should be.
So for my 3, they've all been named, but Baker's at number 1 for me right now. 66% completion percentage, 12 touchdowns, 1 pick. 8 per throw. He has a top 10 QBR, which is a great stat to track with MVP, as it often goes to quarterbacks. But with a full, healthy receiving core, it's going to be really, really hard to stop this offense. He is decisive. He's accurate. He doesn't make stupid mistakes. Baker's up there for 1 for me. Josh Allen is for me as well, 1,200 yards. He's, I believe, top 5 in completion percentage at 70.4%. And he is, again, as Jalen said, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks. I think you could argue he might be number 1, because if you take Josh Allen off this Bills team, I don't know if they'd make the playoffs this year.
I don't even know if they would have a winning record right now.
They lack serious weapons they have James Cook, obviously, but they lack serious weapons on the offense, and they have Dalton Kincaid, but they lack serious weapons on the boundaries, and a subpar defense playing so far this year, it seems like. I think he could really be number 1 as far as MVP goes. And then my 3rd is Dak Prescott.
Oh, yeah, I saw that earlier. It was more like around 2 o'clock maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. I didn't see it on Instagram. I didn't see it on nothing.
Yeah, so that's 4 for 4 on number 1 picks having their head coach fired in the season.
All right, well, sorry, Alex.
No, you're fine. My 3rd is Dak Prescott. As Blake explained, slow start for the season for the Cowboys. It seems like they really just need an edge threat to really liven up that defense. Put more pressure on the quarterback. They had one, yeah.
They actually had the greatest one, but
which we can maybe break that trade down in one of our further episodes, but will be maybe one of the most interesting trades in recent NFL history. But anyways, back to Dak Prescott. Through all their kind of malignant play, he's stood out far from everyone else on that team, with George Pickens and Rico Dowdle. He's had a lot of success just stepping up in the pocket, delivering and making decisive decisions for them. So that's my 3.
These are some solid lists. At the end of the day, we all know it's going to be a tough record. If there's a lot of matchups, it's going to be who gets beat and stuff. It comes down to Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Baker beat Sam. So it'll be Baker. But anyway, let's go to the offensive track here. Let's go to offensive play of the year. I'm going to kind of go fast on mine real quick. Jackson Smith and Jigba, number 120, leading the league in receiving yards. Only has 3 touchdowns. Here's the thing, though. He leads the league in yards, but he's tied 5th in receptions.
does he also? I'm pretty sure he has
After catch, he's even
Yeah.
on each shot. He's not getting these 22 seconds. Puka's killing everybody in seconds. And I got a little closer to Puka. Puka got hurt part of the race. You have that, and then Jonathan Taylor, second team, he's already at 600 rushing yards. Already has 7 touchdowns. Dude, you're rushing it right now. It's running back in the middle. Doing good. I hope Jonathan Taylor. And then, dude, listen to this. Okay, this is sneaky. Panthers new starting running back. Sorry, Timo Rico Dowdle is started right now. He started 2 games in the NFL, right? 2 games this year. Has over 472 rushing yards. It has 2 rushing touchdowns and has like 30 receivers. So the 2 games where he's getting the majority of the action, he is literally averaging 200 rushing yards.
Definitely a sneaky pick there.
So it's a sneaky pick now. The Chula went back today from one Chula. We're short carries now. Now this is Chula. But as of right now, we're very humble. On October 13th, 2025, we are Rico Dowdle for now. I don't know what you got.
I have two that I agree with, which is Jackson Smith-Njigba and Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's my number one right now. I mean, when he's healthy, he's arguably the best running back up there with Saquon Barkley. Maybe not this year, but like the last few years, Derrick Henry. But when Jonathan Taylor's healthy, I think he has a quicker first step than what Saquon does. I think Saquon's a little stronger, but because Jonathan Taylor had 603 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 0 fumbles. Derrick Henry has probably 3 or 4 right now, just in clutch moments. I don't know if Saquon has any. I think he has like 1, but I don't know if he actually has any. My third pick is Puka. He's having a lights-out year, kind of stepping up as the number 1 receiver since, why can't I think of his name?
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp left. So I think he's really stepping up as wide receiver number 1. And as like a fourth, I mean, I know it usually doesn't go to QBs, but honestly, if Baker Mayfield doesn't win MVP, he could honestly win offensive player, because that's how NFL likes to do it sometimes. Because, I mean, he's kind of been their offense. He's got the ball to multiple different players. Nobody's really, like, they have a bunch of people stepping up, but nobody's really like a star player that they go to every single time. It's Baker Mayfield just getting the ball to those people.
Especially with their injuries they're having now. I agree.
Definitely. No.
Oh, for sure.
That was on me. It could have been something.
So my number one right now is Puka Nacua. He obviously is beating everyone in catches, yards. He's up there. He's averaging 11.4 per attempt, which is not anything to turn an eye to. 11.4 per catch is really good. He only has 2 touchdowns, and he might be out for a week or 2, but they do have a bye week, I believe, either this upcoming week or the week after. So that kind of subtracts from missing game time perspective. But I think he is an absolute demon out there, and he is coming for that top receiver spot and the Triple Crown. But it'd take a lot for him to get the touchdowns. But I don't think there's really a receiver who's crushing it, like completely crushing it as far as touchdowns wise this year is so far. There's a lot of wiggle room for him to come back and really start to get in the end zone. But he's my number one. Number 2, Bijan Robinson. I think he's having a phenomenal year. As we're sitting here, he is destroying this Bills defense. He has like 140 all-purpose yards. They're coming back from half right now. But he had like 140 all-purpose yards in the first half. That's the type of player he is. He can do it all for you. He's a leader, and he just loves getting physical. My third will probably be Jackson Smith-Njigba, like all of you guys said. Sam Darnold's been great this year. He's been crushing it yards-wise. And I think Sam Darnold's a perfect fit for Jackson Smith-Njigba's skill set, which is in the slot and also downfield, but he loves operating out of the slot, and Sam Darnold targets slot receivers at a higher percentage than a lot of other quarterbacks.
Yep.
But that's my 3 for Offensive Player of the Year.
I think a very good list. They're very similar. I just didn't have Puka. I put Rico Dowdle in there just because I was like, why not do a sneaky pick, man?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alright, but anyway, defense play of the year. I'm not really going to go into the stats portion of this. It's basically defense play of the year. Basically, it's not even statistically based. It's basically just who impacts the game the most. I'd say Patrick's opinion. Guards 17's number one receiver never needs a double team, never needs a safety on the high side. Guards the slot, guards the long ball, or guards whatever. He does not care. And open with that, I think T.J. Watt, because T.J. Watt was a healthy T.J. Watt, you know he's going to get 15 plus sacks a year. He's the driving force of that Steelers defense. When he's not healthy, they're not good. When he's healthy, they're great. And then last but not least, I think Hutchinson, just because that Lions defense is decimated at the corners and safety right now with injuries. But Aiden Hutchinson, every time you watch the Lions game, he's coming out the back to it and not running force and those are basically my picks. Based on performance picks right now, if I ever lose somebody, probably it could very easily be with Brian Burns. And whether we have
Mm-hmm.
So I actually did mine based off of stats because the three leaders and their respected stats is kind of eye-opening. Is you have Brian Burns. He is, I believe, if not the leader, top 5 in sacks at 7. But he also has 9 tackles for loss and 1 forced fumble and 3 pass deflections. So he's kind of a big part of that Giants defense. Devin Lloyd at 4 interceptions as a line, and not only 4 interceptions, one of those is a pick 6, so at a 99-yard pick 6 to say the less. Also with two tackles for loss, so he's another player out in coverage, but also after whoever is behind that line. And then Aiden Hutchinson as well at 6 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and 4 forced fumbles. I'd probably give it to Aiden right now just because he does have that 4 forced fumbles. Even if they only come up with half of those, that's 2 extra possessions for that offensive team after it's all said and done.
So, my 3, Hutchinson, mine. Again, doesn't just get to the quarterback. He's a complete game wrecker in every sense of the word. Forces quarterbacks and offenses to plan around him. I don't think there are really many players. Another one of my players I'm picking, teams offenses playing around with, but he affects the game on so many other levels than just rushing the quarterback. And another one, Pat Surtain, like Blake said, he'll match up against anyone's one, and he can do it. He's been at this level ever since he came into the league. He did good versus Jamar Chase this year, I believe. I don't know the exact stats, but he played well versus them. But my leader right now for Defensive Player of the Year is Byron Young of the Rams. He has 23 solo tackles at the outside linebacker / edge position. So 37, he has 14 assists, so 37 total tackles for him, 7.5 sacks, which is, I believe, second in the NFL right now, and 9 tackles for loss. The Matthew Stafford, I thought about putting in my MVP vote, but I think that team itself is a good team outside of Stafford. But you need complementary football, obviously, in the NFL. And for the Rams, I think Byron Young has played himself all the way up to the top of that list.
I like it. Now, come back later in the year
Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Easily. Well,
he's on my list.
so I would say Luke Emeka definitely has a lead, but another wide receiver who isn't talked about as much just because he's on less of a performing team is McMillan off the Panthers.
Tedero.
Tedero McMillan. He has 2 touchdowns. He has just as many receptions, but you could also just say that's based off an MVP level quarterback. because definitely, I mean, he has the same amount of receptions, but I'm pretty sure the targets are going to be a lot different. Defensive schemes are going to be a lot different with having the plan against Baker, being able to throw to everybody versus Bryce Young having really only like 2 main targets to throw to. Also, Tyler Warren, can't let him go because he has been an absolute game changer as a tight end for the Colts. Not only being able to leading as a passing tight end, a blocking tight end, opening up lanes for Jonathan Taylor, but still pulling in 370 yards and 2 touchdowns when that's not even your main job. So I think those 3 are definitely, Emeka is definitely the lead, but I wouldn't count out Tyler Warren or McMillan. Say Emeka has a few off weeks, one of them stepping up as lead rookie of the year.
Yeah, so for mine, again, Emeka Egbuka, I think is number 1. His role with Evans and Godwin coming back will be interesting to watch. I doubt it decreases, but it'll be interesting to watch. It's hard to share the ball between 3 all-pro receivers, or future all-pro receiver in Emeka Egbuka. But it'll be interesting to see what his role is when everyone's back and healthy with the team. I guess it's not really a sleeper pick, but I also think Cam Skadbu has kind of played his way up into this conversation the past few weeks. He is only averaging 4 yards a attempt, but that's who he is. He'll put his face through a brick wall if you tell him to. 82 attempts for 338 yards. He does have 5 touchdowns, so you know where he's most successful, which is in the red zone, specifically inside the 10. I feel like depending on what happens with Egbuka, he could slide up there because his role's only growing, and New York loves him in Jackson Dart. So I'm sure his numbers will only continue to skyrocket. Sexy Dexy, baby. Don't forget about Sexy Dexy.
I agree with Carson, but I honestly would say my number 2 pick is Jahad Campbell off the Eagles, just because he's at 40 total tackles, an interception, a forced fumble, and 2 pass deflections. So he's just because he has 1 interception, he's still in that coverage game. But having 40 tackles with being more of a coverage linebacker, that means he's going to be guarding more of the slots, the faster tight ends. That's still impressive to have 40 tackles.
Yeah, so again, like everyone said, it's hard for a off the ball linebacker to get the recognition they deserve. And the 2 linebackers that you all said, I think, are leading right now. Does that speak more to the fact of them being great, or some of the edge rushers in this previous class honestly kind of being disappointing so far? Abdul Carter is rushing the quarterback at a decent rate percentage-wise, but he's not getting home. You have other ends. Shamar Stewart really hasn't done anything. He was a later pick. You have Mike Green from the Ravens, who was another decently high draft pick for the on the defensive line or the edge. But I think it's definitely Carson Schlesinger so far for me.
Yeah, as we've been agreed, it's that defensive class as of right now. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some that are going to go like Carson, Jahad Campbell. It's not that high.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of time. edge rusher is a hard position to adjust to in the NFL. There's a lot more schemes for them. They have a lot more responsibilities, and they're going up against the top talent, which is true in every position. But exposing an 18-year-old true freshman tackle guard or wherever off the edge is a lot easier than exposing a formidable NFL player.
Now let's jump into, we're going to talk about MVP and stuff. Let's talk about divisional winners. Who do you think is going to be top four seeds in the NFC and the AFC? And then we can think about who's going to be the wild card teams, from right now to week 6, or what's going on right now. By the way, from 21-14 now. It's a 16-yard receiving touchdown by the Raiders. But, we can talk about this right now. The NFC, if it was from the AFC, let's start with the AFC sector.
Okay.
If the playoffs started in the division winners, the AFC North would be the Steelers. The AFC West would be the Chargers. The AFC East would be the Bills. The funny thing is the Bills lose tonight, the Patriots jump them. The Bills beat the Patriots for the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and then for the AFC South, we have the Colts. Colts will be the 1 seed. They will get the bye. The 2 seed, I believe, is there. So based off these rankings that we have right now, I have it written down right here somewhere. Okay, right here. So if we're doing the AFC North or the AFC East is the Bills, the Patriots, the Dolphins. I think we already assume the Dolphins.
Yeah, they're not even going to come close.
That's a two-team divisional race right there.
And then we have the AFC North, which is the Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Rams. You can probably get that up.
I don't know what to think about the AFC North this year. It's been, some of it has been mediocre play, but a lot of it has been injuries to big players. Joe Burrow, obviously. Dylan Fairchild, a guard for the Bengals. He's a rookie. He's been playing really good. Started all 5 games. He's out. Lamar Jackson's out. Derrick Henry fumbled away basically a win a few weeks ago.
I would say 2 wins, honestly, because he had the first week, and then I'm pretty sure he did the exact same, not the second, maybe the third week after.
Yeah. And then Aaron Rodgers looks comfortable in Mike Tomlin's system. So I think it's going to be the Steelers. The Ravens can maybe find it, depending on. I honestly do not know how long Lamar's out for. But I feel like. Yeah, they couldn't stop anything.
Well,
Right?
thinking. Yeah. Looking at it, it seems like the Steelers are probably going to run away with it, just because they won't score the most points, but they'll hold on to the ball. For the whole AFC North, which is honestly what you need for that. Because if you look at, honestly, because I have it pulled up here, if you look for points forward, they only have 119 points, which is second to the Ravens have 144, which is honestly still impressive. That makes it more impressive of how well they play when Lamar's there, because last week they put up 3 points, and then
Yeah.
Yes, with Lamar at the helm, he gets hurt.
Do we know if he's going to be back yet?
He's supposed to be back the 26th, so next
Okay.
week. Not like this coming Sunday, the Sunday
Yeah.
after.
Yeah. Well, I definitely throw the bill for
Yes.
in
So
there.
I think Well, the thing is, Lamar, when he's playing, he is by not necessarily the most accurate, the best quarterback, but he's the best rated quarterback. He's making the best decisions. He knows when to throw it. He knows when to throw it away. He knows when to run it. He knows when to take his sacks. He's not the one to force a ball. If he's in field goal range, he's not going to force a ball, make a turnover. He's going to accept those 3 points, and he's going to hope his defense has his back. Where this season they have not. They've given up 194 points. They've actually had a worse defense than the Bengals had this season, who's given up 183 points. The only difference is the Bengals have only scored 103 points, which is
That's also because Joe Burrow.
yes. That's also because Joe Burrow has been hurt when he's been playing. But I think their scheme this year is a little bit different. They're not going for as many deep balls. Like when he was in the game, when he was playing, he wasn't going for the deep ball as much as they usually do, which has still been, which if you're the Bengals, that's your best part. You have two all-pro elite catching receivers. Why not go deep when you have the best accurate long ball quarterback in the league?
Yeah, I think with the Bengals, it's time to let someone else call the plays except for Zach Taylor. I won't expand on this a whole lot, but it seems like Zach Taylor just is trying to do too much in way of schemes and, doing the stuff over the middle. Like Jalen just said, you have two all-pro, maybe future Hall of Fame receivers out there. You got two or three decent tight ends, and Chase Brown's a serviceable receiving back. There needs to be something, no matter who's at quarterback for this team. There needs to be a change in the offense.
But what's really interesting with that whole conference is the Texans have only given up 61 points this season.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
Well, the interesting thing is they're 2-3, but they're positive 47 points compared to their opponents. So they've scored more points than what they've given up. It's just when they score, they win big, but they've been losing the tight, close games, which I think is honestly just an adjustment to the team. I mean, having Joe Mixon out is definitely a veteran running back, and when you're short and dirty, like when you're in like that 3rd and 1 is a definitely crucial situation. But I think it's interesting. I think honestly the Colts, I think I have winning it, but between a wild card could definitely be between the Jags and Texans.
I think No, you're good. I think the most talented team is the Texans. They'll have a two-headed monster with Mixon and Chubb when Mixon gets back. Nico Collins is the real deal. Tank Dell's awesome. C.J. Stroud is... Yeah. C.J. Stroud's a leader. It's I think they're kind of trending in the right direction. They started off really, really slow, but I think they're the most talented team, but you can't count out, Indy at all.
And then AFC West, with the Chargers, the Spurs, the Broncos, they're both tied. The Chiefs are 3-3, the Raiders. The Raiders are out. The Chiefs, I think it's a little sad what happened on the couple of these calls last night. The whole Jared Goff not being on one receiver. That changes it. We have to be having a touchdown to the football. I don't think the Chiefs have penalty in the fourth quarter. Other there, that's what I got to say. I think that's in the league. That's the thing. Teams are being crap again. But anyway, Chargers need to get healthy. Then we have the Broncos on 66 and now. They look terrible against the Jets. But other than that, then we go to the NFC East. The NFC East with the Eagles, the Commanders, the Cowboys, the Giants. Honestly, this division they haven't had the same winner back-to-back in over 20 years, or 20 years exactly. I think the Commanders will end up winning it. The Cowboys, realistically.
I think the Commanders definitely will be winning it, because I think their first few games is like they were riding the high of what Jaden Daniels did last season, which nobody thought he would at least be that accurate as a rookie. Exactly. It's like you come in as a rookie, you're kind of like you're bombing, like you're fresh new, you ain't game plan for it. Like you game plan in college, which is a definitely different scheme from NFL. Now with their starting running back getting traded, their backup charted, and then they had their backup I believe he's hurt, so now they're down to their 3rd string, which it was at the time 2nd string, and Ja'Cory Yeah, Bill. He has
Bill.
been playing lights out. His last game was phenomenal. I believe he had 2 weeks in a row where just last week he played 14 attempts for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has, as of right now, his stat is 20% of his, so 1 out of every 5 runs is for 10 yards, which I think is a phenomenal stat as a young running back. So with that, we'll give a little bit pressure off of Jaden Daniels to be able to make some deep ball threats, especially when Terry McLaurin comes back. You still have Deebo Samuel as an elite yard after catch receiver. So I think they'll end up pulling out above the Eagles, who have been they've been good, but they've been iffy. They don't really have a passing attack right now.
Yeah, it's definitely time to start worrying a little bit about the Eagles and their offense as a whole. I think this division will be one of the more interesting ones to watch. Every team's really in it, honestly. Even the Cowboys, even though they're 2-4, 2-3-1. That's
2-3-1. The Giants are even just 2-4, so they're still kind of in it.
I think every team honestly is in it. Not gonna rag on the division too much, but it's starting to look like the NFC least again so far. But I think I think the Commanders are gonna win it.
NFC North, not really talked about. This is arguably the best division in all of football. You have the Packers, who are 3-1-1. They're in first place because of that tie. And they also have the Lions. The Lions are second with 4-2. Vikings are 3-2. The Bears are 2-2. And then we can talk about that in a second, like who is doing that, everything there. But then we have the NFC South and the Buccaneers. Panthers are second at 3-3. I think they'll stay in second, even if the Falcons win, I believe. The Falcons are 2-2, and the Saints are 1-5. You're looking at possibly 3 teams there that can make the playoffs. But then you go to the NFC West, another division that 3 teams can make the playoffs. There are 3 out of 4 conference, or 3 divisions in the NFC that 3 teams can possibly make. Because the NFC West has the Niners, the Seahawks, all 3 of those teams are 4-2, and they have playoffs. Cardinals have to start the year off 2-0. Lost 4 straight. But if we had to go based off the NFC right now, who is winning each division? So the NFC East, I think we all agree is the Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be one of the top 4 seeds. NFC, I think the Lions are still in the running. The Packers did not look that great. The Bengals were able to stop them in the second half. So, and then the Bengals offense, when they're actually letting the Black Oaks see that, I think the Lions are going to win it out.
In the North, I'd probably, if I had a guess right now, I would probably say the Lions. They look the most complete. The Vikings, if they get their offense together, they have the best defensive rating so far out of the teams, giving up only 97 points. If they get their offense in check with the new rookie quarterback, kind of rookie, he was hurt last season, so he got to study the playbook, but he definitely didn't have the experience. Especially if he can make a connection with Justin Jefferson, that will free up a lot of other people on that offense.
I'll just be Carson Wentz. I'm not a
But
I wonder why, yeah.
Also the Packers as well. If they can get their defense in check, they're also their offense in check. Their defense has also been really great, adding a great edge pass rusher along that already had a great a rushing defense in general. So it gives them another element to their step. They just haven't had all the connections on offense that they need to. So I would say the Lions, but honestly, I believe this is probably the most toss-up division that can win it out of any of them.
Yeah, this and the AFC West, in my opinion, are the 2 best divisions in all of football right now. But I'd probably pick the Lions too. But part of me wants to go Packers. They always seem to get it together. Matt LaFleur's a great head coach. He's got a lot of help around him, but I'd that they need to step up a little bit on both sides of the ball.
And then we go to the NFC South. I don't really think we need to compare ourselves to Buccaneers.
They look lights out. They look like
Yeah.
one of the best, if not the best team in football right now.
And then NFC West, this is a toss-up. I think the Seahawks will win, especially with Brock Purdy being so constantly held, the receivers, Fred Warner being up for the season now. I think the Seahawks will win. You can very arguably say the Rams. I've seen the Seahawks be good. I'm a big fan of that, actually. So
I will definitely say
that makes it not really that simple, so we can get the NFC here. You don't think?
I think it's gonna be the Rams. I think they're a great team. They have two people who could two plus people who could win awards at the end of the season on their team so far this year. Seahawks are obviously a great team, but you gotta think the Rams and Sean McVay are gonna keep on adding and growing their whole team.
I think the Seahawks definitely will pull it, but it's also hard to count out the Rams and 49ers because you're looking at two elite head coaches, probably one of the best in the league. 49ers is probably one of the teams who have had the most crucial injuries, and they still have a winning record.
Always do, it seems.
Yes. They're one of the team, whether they have their starter quarterback, backup quarterback, third string quarterback, they're still making ways of at least, if not winning, at least having the attempt to win in those final moments of the game.
Alright, so divisional winners, we all said Lions.
Yep.
South we said Buccaneers, and the West we
All said the Seahawks. Alex said the Rams.
Yeah, I said the Rams.
Wildcard team very easily be honestly a fun team. One of them we probably want to do that.
Yeah, I think it's a little too early.
I think if we go to the AFC West, it could be any of the three teams in the league. With no Chargers on the Chiefs. I think it'll end up being the Broncos with the Chargers are not healthy right now. And once again, like I said, Broncos. If they didn't get that penalty on the ball off against the Colts, then they would lose the other teams we lost to whoever they're going.
The Chargers.
The Chargers we did, so seeing the Chargers we really cool. But I think that I'm gonna give you all my four real quick, and then I'll go to the and then AFC South, I do think the Colts, but I do like the Jags. I don't know if they'll get done. I think the Texans will come for that. And then the AFC North, I still think the Bengals will win. The Bengals win on Thursday against the Steelers. The Bengals will win it. Bengals lose against the Steelers. Thursday now. A lot of teams because Bengals are great. On a lot of companies. The AFC East, I still think the Bills will be good. Harder than possible. And obviously, there's a lot of things that you'll have
For the AFC, I'll start with the East. I think the Bills will definitely win it. I could definitely see the Patriots coming up if the Bills start to slip, just because another person who honestly hasn't been getting a lot of recognition, who kind of needs it, is Drake May. He is definitely putting that team on his shoulders. 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but with that 1,500 yards, which is kind of surprising, he's been sacked 18 times at 50, and he's still throwing.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's been able to go through 18 sacks and still put up that many yards and touchdowns to lead this team, I could definitely see them as winning. I would still say the Bills because I think they'll get their stuff together on the defensive end and a little bit better connections, clock management as a team. AFC North, I think the Steelers are honestly going to be the winners just because I think they have the better head coach out of the entire division. especially I think this next game is very crucial. The only thing is the Steelers are 2-0 on the road, so Aaron Rodgers definitely knows how to win ball games, which I think is going to give him that edge. He knows how to play in rough crowds. I mean, he's played in probably the roughest rivalry ever of I mean, not ever, but like definitely one of the top ones of Packers versus Bears all the time, and he's gone in there
He's
multiple
that.
times and pretty much.
Yeah,
But,
he division.
yeah. So I think he definitely has a chance. I mean, I would favor them a little bit more to win it. Bengals, if they can figure out the defense, can it be a sneaky? I honestly, it's unstatistically likely, but I can honestly still see the Ravens coming in at number 2. It just depends on how they can do once Lamar's back. AFC South, I think the Colts are going to run away with it. I think they have the management ability to be able to stall the ball with their running backs. So I think they have a lead, and I think they would be able to keep it. And then the AFC West, I would say the Broncos. They look the most complete. They've had their struggles a little bit, but I think they're going to pull out that division.
So I'm going to run through mine like super quick. I'm picking the Bills. I don't really need to explain on that. I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win the West. Chiefs always chief somehow. They always end up finding a way, whether that's through the refs or actual play. But I think the Chiefs will win that. Patrick Mahomes is right now the best as far, especially passing wise, in the league. Picking the Colts, I think that's a runaway, and then I am going to pick the Ravens to win the North. I think that once Lamar gets back, the whole team will kind of settle down. He's obviously a leader. In my opinion, I think he's the best player on that team individually. I think they're going to kind of settle down once he comes back, and they're going to get into a rhythm. And I think the Steelers will probably end up going 9-8 again, like they always do.
Let's wrap it up with two more Jack for Thursday Night Football. So we have any prospects or anything that's on the last spot. If we were to Thursday Night Football, Al, we're going to pick the touchdown score. Who do you have for the
Yeah. So I have T. Higgins scoring a touchdown. I think Joey Porter is another really underrated cornerback, but he'll be matched up against Jamar Chase this week. I think that allows a little more wiggle room for T Higgins to score, especially with the departure of Minka Fitzpatrick back to the Dolphins. Yeah, they have Jalen Ramsey, but I think that T Higgins will score a touchdown on Thursday.
The money lines. The what?
Over under.
The over under. I would probably
42.5.
I would. It's gonna be. That's honestly, I would say that's a great line because you have a good defense of the Steelers going up against a struggling offense of the Bengals, but you also have a definitely slow ball offense of the Steelers going up against a team that can, honestly, you can throw, you can run against it. You can do either. So
we're hoping for a 24-20 game.
Yeah, I'm going to say the over because I think Aaron Rodgers is going to he's going to pick apart the defense at first. They're going to start to pressure in the middle, and he's going to have some deep ball threats. And I know Joe Flacco is not afraid to throw the ball, so I think he's going to have some deep ball threats. I think it's going to be over the line. I think it's going to cover it over.
And then quick money line bet for this weekend. The Dolphins. I have the Dolphins right now. I think
I have the Commanders over the Cowboys. Or, yeah, I have the Commanders winning. Um, Not much to say. I think the Commanders' offense is going to do very well against the defense of the Cowboys.
And then I have, actually, they're considered the underdog, the Indiana over Chargers. Um, I believe the offense of Indiana has been too much for a lot of teams this season. The Chargers are kind of struggling right now, so I think Indiana's going to pull out.
That'll be fun to watch.
We have two underdogs here, so we got that. So those are the bets. I feel like that money line will be a pretty good one, honestly. We have two underdogs. I think we got one Thursday. See essentially we have
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to win the playoff? We want to do more than this, but we're approaching the hour. So let's go ahead and see who we're going to play. The Mariners are up 2-0 on the
Blue Jays.
Blue Jays. I think that's going to win that. I think the Dodgers are going to run. I think the Dodgers are going to walk away from the
I'm gonna the Mariners to win it all. They're the most offensive, explosive team in the playoffs right now. Of course, you have the Dodgers and you have the Brewers, but I think as far as a complete team goes, I think the Mariners have it.
I'm going to say it's the Mariners versus Dodgers, but I'm going to go agree with Blake here and say the Dodgers are going to be the one to pull it out.
Well, next time, guys, yeah, sorry we're having to make more. We'll probably get the ones we get next week, especially when we have the division championships for not the championships, but baseball coming out. Once they get done, we'll probably talk about it more. We also need to wrap up with this. Whenever we figure out our game, we will be shooting Saturday mornings from, did we say we're going to shoot after the 5 games or shooting from 9 to 2?
Well, that's kind of, it's a toss-up. It depends on our availability. So, like,
We'll be streaming Saturday.
yeah, we'll be streaming Saturday.
Either have it or we'll let you know. That will be the live reactions to about what is going on. And have videos. We have a video on Wednesday at 3 Eastern. So, yeah, so you all want to say anything last remarks or we just sign it off and get out of here?
I think it's just time to sign off and
All right. See y'all next week on
the no name yet.